Okay, welcome back to part 3 of this short series where I'm creating some simple dashboards within GoldMine. The part 1 and 2 covered creation of a very simple sales forecast dashboard, and I've left this final part to show you the creation of a dashboard based on an SQL query that you may already have. Somebody's typed it out for you. You've created it using the SQL builder within GoldMine, and it's quite useful to show these values rather than keep going back to that query. You might want to use the list of values very simply and quickly on a regular basis, so you may as well create a dashboard to look at that SQL query. So let's have a look at the topics that we're going to cover. I'm going to create a data source using a manually typed SQL query. I'm then going to add a table to the dashboard, and then I'm going to bind that new data source to that table, which outputs the values within a query. So let me move to my example system to show you this. Okay, so here we are at my example system. This is the resulting dashboard of parts 1 and 2 of this short series. So I'm going to show you just for the moment. I've got an SQL query that I use from time to time just to keep an eye on my users, to look at outstanding pending activities. I do like to keep an eye on how many pending activities a user has. It can get left, or people not completing activities as they should, and it can have a detrimental effect to the performance of GoldMine sometimes where there's many thousands. So I do have a query that I've had written in the past, and you can see here the output is just a series of information by user of how many activities they have pending per user. So it's quite a useful admin tool just to keep an eye on that. But every time I want to do it, I've got to go to this filters of groups. I've got to find the query, query it, and then analyze the data in some way. It would be nice to be able to just keep this as perhaps one of my admin type areas of a dashboard that I can just keep an eye on things and check things out. So to do this, I'm going to copy the query that I've already created in here and just put it onto my clipboard ready for my new dashboard. And I'm going to go back to dashboards. I'm going to create a new dashboard as we did in part 1, and then to generate a new data source. Again, it takes me into the wizard, but this time I'm going to select to produce a data source based on a manually typed SQL query. I'm going to give this a name. I'm going to call it Peter Admin. Just as an example, Peter Admin, just as an example. And you can see here it's gone straight to the runtime parameter. It hasn't taken all those steps through the wizard, but I'm going to skip past these and go straight to the final screen. And you can see this tick box is filled in, and I'm going to paste into here the query that I have on my clipboard, and if I preview this, you can see the output is as I would expect, just in my query window that we saw a few moments ago. At this point I'm going to choose finish, and then I'm going to add a table to the screen. Now for this dashboard I'm not going to bother with titles and things. You can find those in part 1 and 2 of customizing this screen a little bit. I'm just going to produce the table, and then I'm going to, as we did before, edit to data binding. I'm going to make sure I push the Peter Admin binding, and I'm going to add all of the columns into this view. Choose OK, and then I'm going to choose view, and you can see this table would then be producing in real time the normal view that I would get from my SQL query. So you might run a number of SQL queries. I've seen lots before that people need regular outputs of data, etc., because of course this is a standard GoldMine column view, so I could right click and output it to Excel or Word in the normal fashion, so I could perhaps populate a spreadsheet and give it to somebody externally that is not a user within GoldMine. Okay, so a short and sweet solution there for creating a dashboard based on a manually typed SQL query. I've put on the screen here our contact details. You can contact us here at Wizard Systems for any support or help that you need, training, and the contact details are there in front of us. Thank you and goodbye.